sharing some of the leadership lessons and growth strategies of the brightest engineering and manufacturing minds you may not be familiar with, but you really should get to know, right? My name is Sean Bartley. I'm the founder of Crown Technical Staffing, engineering and manufacturing recruitment firm based here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're partnering with small to mid-sized manufacturers, helping them find and retain the technical talent, right? The frontline engineers, the executives who really help develop and guide those teams. And I've got a really cool guest, interesting guest. I hope if this is the first time you've ever checked out The Unseen Impact, you are familiar with our style, with the flow of the conversation. But before we even get into it, with ADARSH KARKI, we've got some house rules, right? Or some things that I'd like for us all to be intentional about and walk away from at the end of this. Number one, first thing I'd like for us all to walk away from with is ADARSH's three-part framework for walking into a broken operation and identifying exactly what's missing, right? Number two, why lean keeps failing in small and mid-sized manufacturers and the mindset shift that he's got and the mindset shift that I'd like for us all to adopt that makes it really stick for good. Third thing, this was something unique, really unique to ADARSH in particular, his Baker interview process, right? And what that reveals about whether someone truly understands how to serve a customer, how to meet their demands. Fourth thing, the career advice ADARSH has given every early stage engineer who wants to move into leadership. I know there are those on the call, either watching us live or listening to the recording, that are in that phase of making an adjustment. And it's important to, be able to move into that leadership with the right framework in mind. And then the last thing, how to develop soft skills in deeply technical people. This is a conversation that has come up not just with ADARSH, but with others. The specific behaviors that he actually uses to coach that separate good engineers from the really, really good ones. Our guest today, right? We've got a conversation lined up with ADARSH KARKI. He's the Director of Engineering and Quality at First Source Electronics, FSE, a contract manufacturer in the DMV area. He walked into FSE during a really pivotal private equity-led reset, right? Management completely wiped out, business stripped to its manufacturing core. And he was tasked with rebuilding that leadership culture, creating real process execution, and just installing CI, continuous improvement from scratch. He also sits on the board of Maryland World Class Consortia, MWCC. He's advising small and mid-sized manufacturers on lean and operational cultural change. And I won't even do any justice just in explaining more about ADARSH's story. I'll let him take the reins and share his story. ADARSH, are you ready for us?
Sure, sure. Thank you, Son, for
Awesome.
all the intro
Awesome.
and the
Absolutely.
background.
So we're
Yeah,
going to kick off with that first question. Just give us who you are, right? 90-second, I call it an elevator pitch, right? 90-second elevator pitch, who you are, what's your role at FSC, and just one thing about you that we may not already know.
sure. Thank you. Thanks, Son. Thank you for the intro. So I'll keep it very short. So in the past, I've been with a lot of different cultures and different companies, as well as different roles within different companies. But as a industrial engineer, I've been developed as analyst, operations manager, as well as the now director of engineering, right? So what I've been doing since last couple of decades is developing both on the technical aspects as well as soft skills aspects. How do I be better next time, right? And how do I grow from there? That's what I'm looking at all the times. And for the especially on the current role, so as a director of engineering and quality, what I'm really tasked is with how do I value customer importance, right? How do I bring this program into discipline? How do I make sure things are happening correctly? How do I make my people's roadblocks cleared away? So I'm doing all that work on the background so the programs are executed flawlessly. That's what my role is right now.
Awesome. And you mentioned to me yesterday something about Brazil. Want to share that?
Yes. So World Cup is coming. I'm a great soccer fan. I've been Brazil fan for the last I don't know when since I know soccer, right? So this time I'm rooting for Brazil again. I hope Brazil wins. Vamos Brazil.
There we go. There we go. That's a good humanizing part of it, right? I think sports on a whole just connects so many different people. One thing that you mentioned, Adarsh, one of the frameworks that you've used, I think is interesting and specific to you is that every hire is it gets this baker question, right? If you're a great baker, how do you always make the best cake for your customer? Walk us through where that came from and what answer you're actually looking for when you ask that question.
Right. This question came to me early on when I was in my management role, right? I was trying to build up my team from scratch. Uh, so I was hiring a lot of people. But what I really wanted to know was if I hire this person, is he really going to serve the customer's purpose, right? Is he good on understanding the customer, first of all? Is he good on problem solving? And is he going to go extra mile with this customer to understand what he actually needs and serve the best? So answer is simple, right? If you want to be a great baker, all you do is ask a whole lot of questions. That's all you do.
Mhm.
Ask a whole lot of questions. There's a lot of things, right? On baking a cake. I'm going to give you a few, like shape, sizes, flavor, toppings, maybe, and could be it'll be a design that you want to put. So those are the things that you want to ask about, and most importantly, you don't want to miss when, due date, and the time.
Mhm.
So that's important. So I think at the end of the day, you want to make your customer happy, right? And that's what it is about, all about customer, right? And that baker question is just about how this, if I hire this person, is he able to make my customer happy or not? And
Mhm.
it's a win-win for both this person, for the company, uh, and for us. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you've had that Baker framework for a while and you've walked into several companies, right? And just found that certain things were missing, right? Found that management sometimes just wasn't on the floor, even they were just stuck in offices, in meetings. You spent actually almost a decade inside Toyota's system where Gemba just completely non-negotiable. There's books written, there's articles written about how amazing Toyota's lean and operational system is. Tell us what that looked like for you on day one, walking into, your current employer. What did you actually see, and even, taking it back to other roles that you've had in the past of leadership? What did you actually see, and how did that start changing a culture that had been running completely different from the day you started?
Sure. I think I'll give you a little scenario. I think day one, I walk into this plant, right? How it's going to look before this no lean culture or people development culture. Day one, you walk in, you get probably 5 to 10 minutes of tour of the plant from his operations manager, and then he's going to come back to with you on the meeting room conference room and talks about this data that he's collecting from MES, from ERP, and QMS systems, how he's gathering all the data, and even we're going to talk about how his labor is not matching with what was actual, right? So I think which is good. I think we should be doing all the companies should be doing that. Should be gathering data, but uh, and he spent another 2 hours about how his Power BI is not working, how his data are all corrupted sometimes. He had to his analyst needs to fix. That's all official work that's happening on the back end.
Mhm.
And he goes to his office. Then I go to my floor, to his floor on the first day, and find out this older gentleman up to his retirement age peeling this blue sticker off the stainless steel. That's a protection blue blue plastic cover, right? He's peeling that out. And I walk to the other gentleman who's supposed to be a veteran uh, operator there. He's banging this bracket who's supposed to be coming at 90 degrees all the times, but this vendor is sending at 105 degrees. And every single time he gets that bracket, he used to bang that to correct the size to 90 degrees.
Mhm.
So, I mean, those are the issues that you want to go and resolve, right? That means what I see on the first day by itself is, hey, this leadership is not on the floor,
Yeah.
and they are not solving the root cause of the problem. So those are the things that I would look for, right? In the first day, I would like can tell right away it's not the lean is not working,
Yeah. Yeah.
or continuous improvement is not happening. People are not solving this problem to the root cause. And what you see today in a good culture that
Mhm.
we're bringing up or as I'm bringing up in a couple of different companies, is hey, this is a people development culture, right?
Mhm.
This Toyota TPS, Toyota Person System, is all about developing people.
Mhm.
So how to develop people? Give them opportunity to grow,
Mhm.
right? That's how we want to do it. So that bracket fell down, right? Somebody should be able to identify, hey, this is a problem I'm seeing every time. Can you resolve it? So that's the culture that you want to create. That's the environment that you want to create by saying, by asking your folks, when there's a problem, raise your hand, say there's a problem, and we'll try to fix it together. And I think it's an employee retention policy as well, kind of a strategy, rather, where your ideas are being heard. When your ideas are being heard, you're working on it to resolve with your managers and with the customer and with the vendors. That's going to give them a boost on their morale. Hey,
Mhm.
I'm being valued. My ideas are being valued. That's how you want to create that culture of, hey, problem solving.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, what you want to do is scale the business all the times, right? You're probably growing, but you're also at the same time throwing a lot of people on this, and your headcount is rising too. But what you want to do is look at that productivity per person, per hour. Am I getting better than yesterday or not?
Mhm.
That's what it's all about.
And I'm sure you've seen just your experiences, teams that have been completely disengaged and checked out, right? So
Yeah.
for those technical teams, how are you identifying just those key people? And then what did you stop tolerating? Because that's a big thing. It's easy to say what you've done differently, but what did you really stop doing and stop tolerating in those type of teams?
So when I see these people, I think basically I would see in any culture, there's two types of people that I see all the times.
Mhm.
There's one that who is doing what's been told to
Mhm.
do,
Mhm.
like day to day. I'm gonna go a 9 to 5, um, complete this 5 things, 10 things, and come back home. There are other things, other type of people who goes out there in the job and starts solving business problems, customer problems, not only the task that it was given.
Mhm.
So, and I want to value that kind of second group of person who's like actually resolving the problems, right? Who's actually want to grow, who's actually want to not only do 9 to 5, but actually want to solve this business problems and keep going from there. And those are people that I would always recommend to even for promotions, right?
Mhm.
And give them more opportunity to do different things, have broader aspect of the business. These are the people that we need in the business to scale, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're thinking about this current role that you're in right now, right? Director of Engineering and Quality, you're wearing several hats in doing that. And for those who are listening live or even, checking out the recording, oftentimes it's a mindset shift, right? That has gotten you to where you are today. Yes, skill, super important, but mindset shift is also there. What's one single most important decision you're making repeatedly that your teams might not see day to day?
So I think it's all about, as a leader, is for me at least, right?
Yeah.
As a leader, how do I execute well? How do I serve this customer better?
Mhm.
And how do I clear this roadblocks for my team where they can execute well? So all the good things will happen through my program engineers, project engineers, right?
Mhm.
The good things are the output, but what happens on the back end is how all these little things are being resolved. That's what people would not see. And
Mhm.
that's my day-to-day role, right? Hey, maybe we're ordering parts and it won't come here until next week, but the due date is this week. But what I can do within my circle of control and influence to make sure these parts can be made somewhere else or be expedited from somewhere else and given to this PM, so we
Mhm.
can go and execute that well, put that in the machine, and
Yeah.
send it out to the customer. So those are the things that are behind the scenes that happens, and those are the roadblocks that I would do on a day to day to clear these roadblocks for my team.
Gotcha. So you're the coach. You're the one
Yes.
removing the issues so that folks
Right.
can thrive on the floor. Now that's helpful. It's helpful to
Right.
know.
And at the same time, there's like a lot of technical aspects as well as soft skill aspects.
Sure.
Maybe sometime, yeah, I'm dead in the water. I couldn't deliver this product to my customer, right? And I'm gonna say, hey, how to deal with the customer in this situation, how to respond to that situation to customer,
Mhm.
make sure they're feeling valued. We're not it's not on us, but it's on the situation that we're in. So
Yeah.
we have to communicate on that with the customer. So those are things I coach to my teammates.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to make sure everyone is picking up what Adarsh is putting down, so to speak, right? There's a lot of insights, frameworks that have been shared, behind the scenes insights from a, director of engineering and quality, something that, we see on the spreadsheet. We see the role, but oftentimes it's the mindset, it's the things that's happening behind the scene that we don't always get a chance to hear about. So if there's anything that has resonated, put it in the chat. Share your own story. Share an example of what you've seen or what you've heard that you can apply and kind of take back to your team as well. I want to make sure we're all here in a with our learning hats, so to speak, to make sure that we're getting something from the conversation. Put an emoji in the chat. I'll make sure that we share Adarsh's contact information, his LinkedIn page, email address, and I'll also include my calendar. Of course, there are individuals that may want to speak afterward regarding their own individual hiring needs, their own roadblocks and challenges business-wise that they'd like, to get a new set of eyeballs on. We can certainly have the conversation and continue the conversation at that time. But Adarsh, I appreciate, what you're sharing so far, and we've got a couple more just questions and insights, more specifically about your operational plans, right? When you arrived at FSC, you made, I would say, a critical distinction, right? The company could grow, you could throw people at volume, but it just wasn't going to scale, right? Just because the process itself wasn't getting better. Walk us through the specific changes you made, right, to kind of fix that. And what does that workflow look like on the floor today versus when you walked in?
Yeah, so I think I'll start with that throwing people at the problem is really uh, band-aiding problem, right? That we're band-aiding this issue for instant, but we're not taking effort to go deep inside that process and
Mhm.
understanding why are we failing for that particular issue. So this, I'm going to give you an example of maybe a warehouse, right? Warehouse where there are like thousands of SKUs received, put away, and picked in a given day.
Mhm.
But and it was very manual work. Hey, there's a paperwork I'm going to receive. I'm gonna write this down or check it off and go in the computer in the ERP system, enter that part, receive it, and put away the same way. Right at the end of the day, I'm gonna come back to my computer, say I put away this many parts, I picked this many parts from the warehouse. That was all manual.
Mhm.
So with that, we're throwing, hey, let's add like five more people, right? And get that all part received in the warehouse, make sure they're picked right. But actually, what we should really be doing is, hey, using this tools and technology. There's a scanner capabilities that warehouse has. So that's talk to our ERP system. We should be using that. So that's the going deeper inside that process was actually taking longer to not able to put away things, not able to pick parts. So using those tools and technology will help the warehouse eventually. But somebody's not going deeper into the process, going into the Gemba and talking to people, why it's taking so long, not understanding those things. So I think this needs to happen. Leadership needs to be on the floor to
Mhm.
understand these. Otherwise, nobody's going to raise these questions or issues. And that's
Sure,
how we would know.
sure,
So that's why like people throwing people at the problem is just band-aiding. You're band-aiding for
yeah,
like that instance. It's
yeah,
not a solved root cause.
yeah. Speaking of getting to the root, right? You described something called a five why thinking, right? To really stop the finger pointing, get to the root of the issue, right? There's no one to blame. You use an example of, as you mentioned, just parts not being ordered incorrectly, drawings are wrong. Walk us through what that actually looks like in terms of the process that you're running with your team to get to those five why thinkings. And what does the conversation look like?
Okay, so I think I'll break this down into a couple of different steps here, right?
Oh, yep.
So the first thing is uh, you got a problem, and you do your due diligence, what failed, how it failed, break it down, and what you got to come up with is, I always quote about this is, don't ask why yet, just understand the metadata around that failure. What happened? Who did that? How many times it has happened?
Hmm.
And you come to a point with a prioritized problem at the point of occurrence. So, like, note that
Hmm.
prioritized problem at the point of occurrence. What specific thing happened that did not let us do the next thing? So that at this that example of parts not ordered, right?
Hmm.
Part was not ordered. That's what I got stuck into, and my engineer got stuck into there, and uh, he went and asked why,
Hmm.
and he said because supply chain didn't order because it was never called out as a in the part spec. Then it goes to the design engineer, right? And design engineer, we go to why. Then we're design engineer. Design engineer say, "Hey, customer sent this information, and the spec didn't match with their design." So we're going all the way down
Sure.
deeper into that the root cause, right? But we stuck at that circle of control. So where I'm not able to go deeper within my company now, I have to reach out to customer. Then you do that. So I think next step is to go into the customer, uh, contact customer basically, and find the root cause why it's not matching. Maybe their drawing is bad, drawing is incorrect, and let them know. And that's how you solve the root cause with the customer. That's going to be a value add to the customer as well. So that's the first part, right? That's the five why.
Yeah.
You keep asking why until you resolve to the root cause. But at the same time, what really needs to happen is the second part of the question is this person who identified this problem, right? That's the first success that you'll see in this person.
Hmm.
Meaning he's able to identify and be self-managed to say that, hey, I got this problem, let's figure it out.
Hmm.
So I'm going to give you this five levels of self-management now, right? So five levels of self-management starts with level zero. At least you're identifying this problem. But let's say like let's just start zero. Start zero would be like you would not be able to find the problem. We are given this work, this didn't work. You don't tell anyone, it's gonna go. You just drop the ball,
Hmm.
right? But where you want to be at level one is identify the problem. And when you go to steps level two, you want to do, I got this problem. These are the options to resolve. And you ask a manager to give you the right option to go with. Then you go level three, right? You want to progress yourself towards level three. I always want my folks to be on level three. So on level three, what you want to do is you identify the problem, you find the options to resolve, you find the best option, and you tell the manager, hey, I do my research, this is the best option. Can I go with this option? And on the fourth one, you do all your due diligence, you find the solution, and you ask your manager, hey, if you don't let me know by Friday, I'm going to go ahead and execute that. Which is fine. I think we value that, right? I value that because I'm not having to do all that digging now. He's doing all of that work. He's solving the problem for customer and for the business.
Sure.
And at level five, that's the last step, last level, right? That level is where you do everything. You resolve everything, you fix it, then you let your higher ups know that this was the problem, this was the best option. I executed it, it solved the problem. I just want to let you know. That's it. And that's the level that you always want to be.
Yeah.
But to start with, as an engineer, where you want to be is at level three at least for me, right? Because where you're identifying problem, finding the solutions, best solutions, and letting me know what's the best.
Now you kind of answered the question in that framework, that five-step framework that you mentioned, but there are always the engineers that are on the call, or at least listening to the podcast right now. They want to end up in a role like yours, right? Just owning engineering, owning quality, sitting on boards, adding value, building the teams. What do you wish they'd start doing, right, in their first 5 years in the industry? Of course, the level three is where you'd like them to be, but in those first 5 years, what should they be identifying and what should they be looking at? What type of opportunity should they be looking for?
I would say uh, get broader aspect of the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you can always go a couple different ways. Mm, you can dig deeper into this. Let's say I'm a mechanical engineer for now, and I'm working with this two gear being meshed together, and this problem always arises. This teeth of the gear always fails, right? And I'm digging deep enough to understand: is it the material? Is the radius of the gear teeth is not missing? Why is it failing? And you get to the deep to the root cause and find out, hey, this is what's happening. That's that's good enough, right? You can always go from there, being a engineering director, design engineering director, or all of that. But at the same time, you can also go broader, right? You can keep it at a high level. Hey, this gear is not missing. Why is it not missing? Is it like the bars that I'm ordering is not correct? You can go broader. You can go broader, like, hey, is supply chain working or not? Is the person that I'm hiring is able to do this work or not? So there are a lot of different things that you can do in a broader aspect than just the engineering. So I think if you want to grow to this role of director, manager, you got to have this broader aspect of the business. You understand that total value stream, how everything works together, how business is, how the culture is, first of all, how the business is aligned, how our supply chain vendors are aligned with us. Same thing with the customer, what customers are asking. You got to understand that broader aspect
Yeah,
to get that
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
roll into your hand, right?
Sure,
And that's important.
sure.
But for your question, the first 5 years, do you make sure you're better on your technicals, right? People come to you and ask questions, and make sure you're resolving problems. You're not only doing day-to-day work. Make sure you're going above and beyond to
Mhm.
solve this customer, bring the value to the customer. Make sure you do that.
Yeah,
That's my suggestion.
yeah. ADARSH is building something special over at FSE, and I want to highlight that and kind of put some attention on. I will include his email address and his contact information in the chat box. But I hope we are all paying attention and taking something from the conversation today, right? Because that's the most important part. That's why we do the unseen impact, is to just get nuggets, get a few gems here and there from everyone, and build your own career, your own kind of linear, we hope it's linear, but oftentimes it isn't, but your career path, right? Um, Part of what we're doing as well is having the conversations with the leaders, helping them find the technical engineers, the executives that can help build their organizations. I'll include my calendar, I'll include my contact information as well, so that if you'd like to have a deeper dive, a deeper conversation, just to again flesh out what your hiring strategy will look like this year, I'm open, and I'd love to have that conversation with you. One of the things, Adarsh, you coming on the Unseen Impact. You mentioned to me this is one of your first webinar series, first podcast that you've done, just across the 20 years, right, that you have been doing this work. What's a piece of work that you're proudest of, right, that most people outside of your teams, they've just never heard about, they will never hear about?
I can give you this little example. When I was early on in my uh, operations analyst position, that's kind of also helped me to grow into this current role now. With a lot of management role was my management came into me and say, hey, we want to change this system in the plastics plant, right? That is outdated system,
Mhm,
and we got to change it. And okay, and then I said, like, I'll take the project. But as a problem solver all the times,
mhm,
as I get deeper into this system that's not working for us,
mhm,
I found a lot of process issues that's not happening well. I found a lot of integration with different subsystems that's homegrown, right? People are managing that day to day. We're hiring people to manage this uh, access database.
mhm,
We're hiring people to do this integration between ERP to the MES system.
mhm,
So, and as I found that, hey, it's not the systems issue, right? We got a bigger process issue that we got to resolve.
Yeah.
And from that point, I said, like, hey, it's not about this system outdated. It's about the process. Let's fix the process, and we'll bring the system as well. But if you bring the system right now, you will not see any gains at all, right? Because the underlying processes are still the same. So I think that was and management bought it, right? Management bought it, and we started doing a lot of CI to solve that, resolve that underlying problems with the processes.
Yeah.
Then we went and chose the right MES and laid over the over that process, and that how executed well now.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you're coming from a unique advantage point, Adarsh, just the perspective, right? Because you're sitting on the board right now of Maryland World Class Consortia, which they focus on lean and operational excellence. And from that perspective, right, what are most common blind spots here? We were talking about lean, you were talking about operational excellence in the past, but what are some common blind spots that you're seeing in that small to mid-sized manufacturer that trying to get serious about lean? What are you seeing on your side?
Yeah, I think blind side for the companies that are trying to get into lean is about lean is they think lean is about efficiency, lean is about cutting costs, lean is about how do you scale the business, which is all right, right? But what they miss is uh, people development.
Mhm.
That's the sole purpose of the lean. If you develop your people, right, they can do all sorts of improvement to scale your business. If you develop people, they'll be taking care of the work, right? And there's a lot of aspect of employee retention. There's a lot of aspect of being valued and bringing customer value into the business, making sure everybody understands what customer is asking for, not only the PMs, not only the salespeople, right? Everybody in that organization needs to know what customer is really asking for. So I think basically the blindsided thing about lean is people are thinking it's all about putting labels on the bin, uh, making the floor clean, right?
Mhm.
That's the outcome of lean by developing people.
Mhm.
You have to give that exposure. You have to give some time to people to grow. That's all about lean, and that's I think that's the blind side about developing people versus having lean culture.
Got it. Makes sense. That makes sense. And I want to kind of dip our toe in a little bit about just things that excite you and kind of get you going on your journey, right? So everything that lands on your desk right now, you've got a lot, right? From floor culture, scaling the team, quality systems. What are some problems that just energize you, right? Where do you get that energy from, or at least what do you lean into rather than delegating in your role today?
I would say that is more on day to day, right?
Mhm.
Maybe I'm solving this technical problem today, which my engineers are not able to resolve,
Mhm.
and which that excites me as well, right? It's a technical issue. I'm always been in manufacturing and in
Mhm.
engineering. I want to
Mhm.
solve those, but at the same time, there's a people problem, right? There's an operational problem, and basically, problem excites me, and I'm happy to resolve that.
Indeed. So what's next for you? What's next, Adarsh? What's next for you and FSC company? What should we be watching for?
I think we're growing. I think you'll see in recent days, FSC will be growing in multiple sectors.
Mhm.
Last year was first year with this new P group. Now
Mhm.
we're getting into more higher level data center work, as well as a lot of other things that yet to come. But just to let you know,
Mhm.
last year to this year, with that start first year, we're already 10x. Yeah.
Now that's a story we gotta hear. We gotta hear that. So I know we may not have time today to hear the entire story, but we're looking forward to one I had no idea that it was 10x from the first, introduction to the PE firm to today. It's only been a year. That's huge. That's huge, Darcy. And as you mentioned, that's why you were brought in, right? That's why you were hired, to get those type of results for the organization. So I know the listeners will certainly want to either continue the conversation or kind of peek their head in and find out what FSC and your team is doing. You can do that. I will make sure Adarsh's contact information is firmly planted in the chat room. My calendar is firmly planted as well in the chat room. Let's stay connected. You've got another episode of The Unseen Impact coming up on the 25th of June. I will announce the guest soon, but Adarsh, I really, really appreciate the time, appreciate the insights, and I hope the 5 or 6 things that I mentioned in the beginning as to what we will all walk away from at the end of this conversation. I hope it was all met for everyone. Adarsh, again, thank you so much for the time. And yeah, please, any parting words?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Sean. No, I think I'm. This is my first webcast, podcast,
Sure,
whatever that
sure.
is. I hope that went well, and I hope to give more insights. You can give you can share my the contacts with the folks, and I'll
Certainly
happy
will.
to talk to them.
Certainly will. Adarsh, thanks so much. You guys take
Sure.
care.
Thank you.
All right.